Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at ActionCOACH in Central Texas. And today I am joined by Gilbert Sarmiento, who is the owner of Quick Pharmacy in Round Rock. Very excited to be jumping into some conversation here today, talking about business, talking about just the journey into, the risk that is starting a business of your own and all of that kind of stuff. Just excited to get into the journey of it, some conversation. Gilbert, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today.
Thanks for
Uh,
having me.
of course, I'm going to just hand it over to you for a few minutes here. Why don't you just give us a little bit of background of who you are and tell us about your business?
So, Gilbert, obviously, we started this journey many years ago. My wife and I met in pharmacy school, and when we first flew off and got our big boy and big girl jobs, we decided we need to do something for ourselves at some point. We took the time to learn about the industry and what things we could do with it. I had always been an independent pharmacy, small business owner mentality. It's a thing that I just loved. I loved having the freedom to do it. Now, I worked for two independent pharmacies before this that were amazing. I learned so much. They'd been around. One was 50 plus years. Another one was 60 plus years. And I said, there's no way that I'll ever find a pharmacy that has been around even longer than these two. And then I stumbled upon this, just the time that it happened. It was so weird because we had just recently lost somebody that we were close to. And then we said, you know what, we have to do something. We need to do something different. And then I found this pharmacy that had been around for 100 plus years. And I was just amazed. I was like, this is weird. Like everything is happening all at once. And, my wife and I have been true believers that God kind of leads you the way you should go. And this just happened. A lot of the things in our life has just happened because we just took the right steps to get there. And this happened, and it was great. The transition from being an employee to an owner was even better because I had a good group of people around me and a good group that sold me the pharmacy. Very rare to have somebody that is going to hand the keys off to you and say, we love independent pharmacy. We love this industry. We don't want this to go to some corporate chain. We want it to stay independent. And so now here I am. It happened so quickly. I mean, we can dive into it, but I found out like November 2nd, and I was here like November 25th, and we were just going. It was crazy.
Actually, so what year was that you actually purchased the business?
This year.
So
Yeah.
as of like, what was that, 5, 6 months ago?
It
Five
was
months?
officially January 1st of 2023.
Okay.
But again, another rarity is that the owners were like, we'd love for you to get in there. We'd love for you to get in there and learn, see what it is. Before I even purchased, before we even signed the dotted line, it was amazing. Because we both loved independent pharmacy. We both loved the small business aspect of it and the entrepreneurship that we were like, let's do it right. And yeah, that's what we did. So
Beautiful. There's
yeah,
so much that we can dive into on this. So I'm excited to jump into
yeah,
some conversation here.
yeah,
The simple fact that you bought a business versus just I'm going to go start something up on my own from scratch, all of that kind of stuff is um, personally, I don't think that there's enough stories told about that process and what that looks
yeah,
like, because there's a massive amount of benefit when buying an existing business. So I'd love to just kind of stay there for a minute before we kind of talk about a few other pieces of this.
yeah.
But buying a business, having a really good transition from the previous owner to yourself, a couple of questions that come to mind. One, was there a team, a staff that you inherited along this process? And with the previous owner, after officially making the transition, Have they stuck around to kind of do some things within the business with you? Was it just a complete they're done as soon as they handed over the keys? Kind of what did that transition process look like for you?
No, so they've actually become like my best friends. I mean, we talk a lot because they've been in this industry. They owned 5 pharmacies, and all independent pharmacies. And they had 2 here in Central Texas. Another one is Gus's Drug in Georgetown,
Okay.
and this pharmacy, Round Rock, the Quick Pharmacy. And so they were like, look, we've done this before. And, I'm sure other owners have felt this, where when you buy a business, there's so many checkoff lists. And they had their own checkoff because they'd done it before. And I was in this very room when we had about 60 to 70 things to check off. And the first time I did it, I was like, I'm looking around and I'm looking at my wife like, are we going to be able to do this? But they held my hand throughout the process. I knew some of it, but there's so much, in our business, we deal with, 100 insurance companies that we have to re-credential with. We deal with the state. We deal with the DEA. We deal with compounding companies when we make medications. So it's daunting, but they become my best friend. They're still during this transition, all these vendors are like, oh, hey, this bill needs to be paid, or this needs to be done. And they're like, oh, hey, we got this email. Hey, let's help each other. Do you need me to go down there and do the paperwork with you? And I'm like, is that normal? I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's normal, but I'm thankful.
Yeah, I would venture to guess that is not normal, but
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
really, that is such a cool experience and relationship that was able to develop there. So, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And team wise, did you inherit a team in this process as well?
Yes, I did. I did. And I inherited a really good group of people. We have a delivery service. And so my delivery driver has been around since not the previous owner, but the previous owner before that.
Wow.
Yeah. Like in 96, he came on board and he's been here that long.
Talk
And
about
so,
loyalty. Wow, that's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. And when he goes and delivers it, he's like, oh yeah, I know exactly where that is in Round Rock, blah, blah, blah. It's like, hey, let's not do that. That's not good for efficiency. Like, great, works for me. So I listen to them. Have a great technician in the lab. She's young, she's hungry, and she's really good. Very rare to find the folks that they had here, but that's, I think, the good thing about a small business is you attract that kind of employee that, they're here, they're strong, and they're willing, and they're ready. So
Mm. So let's take a step back and talk about your transition specifically.
yeah.
So were you here in Round Rock before making this transition?
No, so I was actually in North Houston, the Woodlands.
Okay.
Um, love the area. Uh, when I first brought up the opportunity to my wife, I mean, we'd been looking around. We had a chance to purchase something in Dallas in Flower Mound. And we had a chance to purchase a consulting business in Houston. Um, and neither of them worked out. And as someone who really wanted, like, I really wanted to work for myself, I was devastated. I mean, it was like 2
Mm.
opportunities that just pass you by and you think, what's going to happen? And when I first brought up the idea, she was like, are you sure? And you want to leave the house and everything that we have here? It's like, yeah, I think we should try it. And it was a risk. I mean, if anybody who's watching this, or you look it up, the Woodlands is one of the best places to raise a family. It was
Mm.
amazing. It was a great place to live. And I was scared. I was definitely scared to do that, but I knew that this was a risk that we needed to take. And, we've been here, what's today? Yeah, like a little over 3 months, and I don't regret it one bit. Kids love it. A lot of places for the kids to have fun here, and it's been a good transition, but it was scary for
Mm.
sure.
Well, on behalf of those of us here in the Central Texas area, welcome to Round Rock. Welcome to the
Yes,
area.
it's been good. It's been good.
As a relocation person myself, about 4.5 years ago, I think we actually lived up in northern Iowa and made the transition down here. And Woodlands was actually an area that I was looking at exploring when I was
Okay.
deciding where we
Yep.
were going to leave the Midwest. We just hate the cold weather, all that kind of stuff, and made the transition down here, and it's just been absolutely amazing. I have been kind of blown away with Round Rock specifically, and some of the things that they're doing just on a city level and things like that. So, very excited to have you here.
Yeah.
The transition, that excitement, that fear, you know, talk through that a little bit if you would. Tell us the experience of taking this risk, knowing that there is inherent risk in changing cities, moving everything across, starting a new business, all of that kind of stuff. Um, how did you overcome some of those fears and stresses that naturally come with that type of a transition?
I mean, the biggest thing was the support. We had our families. My wife had her parents in Houston. My parents are in San Antonio, so they couldn't really help with helping the wife with the kids and getting us moved. But on a personal side, that was the biggest thing, was how are we going to get all of our stuff and all of our transition the kids from school and make sure that everything was closed out with all of the contacts that we had, and my job in the Woodlands to make sure that they were set up. That was the hardest part, logistically, because you want to make sure you leave something on good terms, and you want to make sure that you leave something that you've taken care of better than you left it. And I wanted to make sure that those folks were taking care of everybody that relied on us there. It was hard because, like I said, it was like November 2nd when I first started talking to these folks, and then I was here because just things changed, and it was like, if we're gonna buy this, I need to go head in and ready to go. And so during the transition, I don't know if I packed one box, to be honest with you. Maybe I did. Maybe I packed like 3 boxes. But my wife did it all, and thank God for my in-laws and everybody else, because I had to be here. We wanted to be able to jump or hit the ground running, essentially. And during a transition like this, there's so much. So I lived in hotels, and hotel living is not as glamorous as it is. It's like, we don't know where we're going to live. So it's like, I just got to stay somewhere. I got to sleep. So that was hard. And being by myself was difficult.
Mm.
And so it's like, let's get it moved as quick as we can, because I miss the kids. I miss my wife. I missed my own bed, really. So that transition was, oof, it was something.
Mm. I can absolutely imagine, man, that type of transition is always a challenge. But speaking of kind of challenges, learnings, things like that, as you reflect upon your now 3.5-ish month journey so far, shifting over and actually being the business owner, having a team, having a little bit more responsibility, but also flexibility because you're the owner now. What have been some of the biggest lessons that you've learned so far in being a business owner versus working for another company?
So on the business side, I watched one of the series, one of your recordings yesterday, and one of them talked about cash flow, and I was like, yeah. So I had these lessons from previous owners, and they were like, look, cash flow is the most important thing. It's like one of the biggest things you're going to have to deal with. And in our industry, I'm buying medications that are not cheap. One bottle sometimes can be $800.
Mm.
And so you have to float that money. And insurance companies, they don't, when I send a claim, they don't pay it right away. So I had to learn that. That was the biggest thing. When my first bill came from my wholesaler, the people we buy medications from, I called my previous boss and I said, why didn't you warn me? He said, you just have to feel it sometimes. You just have to know. And so, yeah, that's been the biggest thing, is understanding how much money you have, where it's going to go, when it's going to come back. Um, yeah, I promised my employees, I said, look, we're the culture here is family, and I promise I'm going to pay you. That's the most important thing. And we're going to take care of you. You're going to get paid. But boy, was it stressful the first month or two, when I was like, I don't know where the money's going to go or when it's going to go and all of those things. You know, a lot of people who own businesses will know that, can
Yeah.
relate. And we don't understand until you truly don't understand until you're in it. And you're like,
Mm.
ooh, wow. Like,
Yep.
okay, I can do this, but we're doing good. We're staying alive.
I love
So,
it. I love it. No, that is such a critical topic that I think does need to be talked about in this very real way. That sometimes you don't really grasp it until you experience it, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
realization of like, oh wait, payroll is due in 2 weeks, and we've got this 3 week gap of we had to buy inventory here, and we're not going to get paid for it technically until over here, especially if we're
yes,
dealing with very highly regulated industries and things like that, where it isn't just an overnight switch.
yeah,
So I can definitely understand. I know that there are several others on that will view this and feel the exact same way. So for those that are
yeah.
listening, not
I
alone.
mean,
Makes sense.
that's one of many things that I've learned, and that has been a challenge. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Truly, I mean, it's been great for us, and it's been great for the kids and mom and our whole family. So can't beat it.
I love it. Well, I want to, flip that question over and talk about success. By being where you are in life and your journey into business, all of that, having purchased a business, effectively, on this path now, by all means, this is, you are successful. I'm going to just go ahead and say you are successful.
I
So
appreciate that.
by, when we look at success, what do you attribute your success to? So I like to always ask kind of what are your current keys to success? You define however you want to define it. But really, what are the things that you do consistently or you think about consistently that allow you to continue to pursue success and be successful in your own life?
You know, I tell my employees this all the time. It's We're not here to make $10 million. It's just not. That's not the industry we're in. If I was a big CEO at an oil and gas firm, you'd make tons. But success to me is being able to come to work every day and being happy about what you do. And I tell my employees and my wife this all the time. If we're not happy, we're not going to be able to serve those people that come in those doors. And so success means coming to work, enjoying it, being able to go home, and being able to spend time with the family. Success to me means that I'm going to carve out time to be with my family and to see the kids grow up, and to be able to go to ball games and to dance recitals and do whatever I have to do to be a dad. Because I think business owning obviously is important, but I promised my wife that I would never be a full-time business owner. I would rather be a part-time business owner than I'd rather be a full-time dad than be a business owner. Now there's a balance to that. Obviously, you can't just be a part-time business owner, because you do have to put your sweat equity in. But I want my success to hinge on, at some point in my life, I want to be there at all times for the kids if they have things that are going on. That's success to me. I don't
Mm.
think I don't think making 10 million is going to make you successful, because you do have to work really hard for that. And I think a lot of us are willing to work hard for that, but family to me is so important. I It was probably the seventh or eighth day that I was here. The the previous owner, before, um, I think he was the second owner before Mr. Quick. He walked in and he said, "Oh, he was after Mr. Quick." It, he purchased the business from Mr. Quick and said, so we were just chatting. It was after hours. I was doing some work and a prescription came in for a dog. We were making a dog prescription and I talked to him and I said, oh yeah, I'm the new owner. And he said, I used to own Quick Pharmacy. And I said, well, that's weird. And so we chatted for about an hour. And one of the big things I learned from him, and he said, make time for your kids. He said, there was times where I didn't get to go to a ball game or didn't come home for dinner and all those things. And even the owner that I purchased it from, he said the same thing. He said, your kids don't care how bad your day was, but they love when you go home. So you go home. That's success to me, is being able to go home happy and being with the kids. All the other stuff is extra. It's nice. It would be nice to make $10 million, but unfortunately, we're not all there. So
I love that. No, there was something that was told to me. It's probably been about 2 years ago now, and it was essentially business is the vehicle that allows you to have the life that you want to have.
yeah,
Something along those lines. And it was a reminder to me that I believe that it is totally possible to be a part-time business owner once it's set up correctly. I mean, there's things done in the beginning, all that kind of stuff, but by choosing to be in business, be an entrepreneur, be the one who owns a business should give you the freedom that you want in your life, should give you the ability to go, never miss a ball game and spend time with your kids and things like that. So it's really exciting to hear that's what's important to you, and that you've got that focus going into your journey here. So very, very cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to, I know we're kind of coming up on time here, so I want to be respectful of your time. But before we jump into kind of my final question, for the audience, I think it would be good if we just take a moment and talk about why it's really important to look at, going to a pharmacy like Quick Pharmacy, going to the local versus, chain pharmacies, just defaulting to go into, HEB, something like that.
Yeah.
Give us kind of your take on why Quick Pharmacy, smaller pharmacies like this are so important.
Yeah. Well, number one, we all know we're all in agreement that small businesses are the backbone of this economy. We keep it alive. We're the ones that actually live in this community. We care. We know all of these people. They walk in the door. It's like, oh, I just saw you at church the other day. Like that. I think that's what we're missing a lot, is that relationship. And I have a lot of friends who work for chain companies and that are happy. And I know some that feel overworked and tired. And I feel bad for them, because, they're saying there's a pharmacist shortage. There's not a shortage. There's people that are willing to work. They just don't want to work in an environment that they're being worked to death. And our company and all independent pharmacies, you're going to meet the owner. You're going to meet people that are going to know your name, that care about you. They're going to call you about, oh, hey, your prescription changed. Did you know that? No, you didn't. Well, that's why we're here, because we know you personally. We know your preferences when you walk in. We know that you like your bottle a certain way. And those things are invaluable. And the relationship that you build, once I get to know you, I'll know all about you. And I will make it difficult for you to ever want to walk out the door without my service. And independent pharmacies are not the cheapest, but you're getting a quality product. We're contracted with all the major insurance companies, so copays are going to be the same, but the quality and the service that you get at places like this, whether it be my industry or whether it be a bread company shop, or a muffin shop or a cake shop or something like that, that's owned by somebody that lives in your community, you're going to see the difference. And that's what I hope people see when they walk in and when they leave here. they get the impression that the people who are here care about them. So
Beautiful. I love
yeah,
that. And thank you for taking a moment to share that with the
yeah,
audience.
of course.
Um, Before we wrap up on kind of my final question here, for those that are watching, how can they find out more information about Quick Pharmacy? How can they, where can they go to, tell us where you're located, for your
Yeah.
industry, tell us where you're located. How can they find out more information if they want to connect with you? Where's the best place to connect with you specifically? Kind of give us the details there.
Well, we're in this social media world, so you can see us on Facebook. You have our website, quickrx.com, and I'm here every day. You buy something, it's like your baby. So the kids are here. So if those who are watching this, you want to meet my kids, they will be here at some point throughout the day. That's the family life we're gonna live. And walk in anytime. We're always here. And most important thing is don't hesitate to call. Don't be afraid to ask. We're right here, 1 mile east of 35.
Hmm.
So you exit for those who go to Round Rock Express baseball games. You'll pass us. If you're going to Kalahari, you'll pass us. But we're here. We're here ready to serve people. And the store will be completely different. We're adding new products, and we'll add new services as we go. And so we're going to make it our own, and we're ready and we're excited to serve the community.
Beautiful. Absolutely love it. If y'all are in Round Rock, go in the Quick Pharmacy, introduce yourself, say hi to Gilbert. Take
Yeah.
some time to do that. Really and truly support the local businesses here, brick and mortar. Get out there, go do that. So there's me my little plug. Definitely go do it.
Thank you.
As we wrap up here, Gilbert, I gotta ask, what is most inspiring to you today?
Today the most inspiring thing for me is I don't think she gets enough credit, is my wife. She's very inspiring. It sounds cliche, but when we started this whole thing, if she wasn't here, we wouldn't be here. She took care of everything, took care of the kids, made sure that we were set up so that we could be successful, because I didn't do anything. I had to be here, and she inspires me every day. So she comes in, wears so many hats. I'm like, can you be my bank runner today? Can you be my Costco runner today? Can you be my bill payer today? A true small business, but so inspiring, because she doesn't complain, and she's ready to go. Takes care of the kids, takes care of home, so that we can be successful here. So that's most inspiring to me today.
I absolutely love that. I love the
Yeah.
shout out there. So thank you for sharing it. Thank you for investing your time with me today. I mean, this
Yeah.
conversation has been a ton of fun. I appreciate you investing the time and being here with me today, and just being willing to have this conversation. So thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate the opportunity.
Of course.